during a recession or normal economic downturns, there are very, very few businesses that can get through unscathed normally. Normally, it's because maybe the business has maybe a large rainy day fund that it can sort of dip into, or will manage to sort of get it through the lean times into a more sort of better, prosperous state. Other times, you've obviously got, well, landlords, which, regardless, are always infinitely profitable, regardless of whatever economic downturn is really going on. Because, hey, even if they do sort of end their high-end sort of landlordery, they can always, if they wanted to, pretty much go to, well, slumlordery if they really wanted to. Uh, Trust me, I once knew someone who said that exact same thing to him. That sort of didn't matter to him. His property portfolio would always be profitable, regardless of the economic situation. But one institution in particular, pubs, because pubs do actually historically tend to be actually pretty resilient when it comes to economic downturns. And this is why I am sort of worried. Because if you have pubs who, as we said, historically, normally do quite not amazingly well, but they survive. They do tend to do actually quite well during, and I say quite well with the caveats of they can probably continue to run at their normal, or at least maybe their normal-ish operating procedures, but but we are now facing a situation where we are looking at mass pub closures. And if that is the case, where historically pubs normally do all right during such similar economic downturns, what does this really say to the state of our economy? So, before we go more talking about this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who are watching. So, this amount of pub closures has actually rapidly intensified. So, just in the first 3 months of the year, according to a recent survey, you are looking at just the first quarter alone, you are looking at almost 2 a day. So that's 2 pubs a day. So that's 51 a month. Where you compare it to this pre-crisis period, where again we saw sort of pubs closing, it was 32 a month. You've now got an average of, just in the first quarter of this year, of almost 2 a day. And it gets even worse, because this is one quote from one of the people who is sort of shutting up shop recently because of this high energy prices. And we'll get into why this is, because it's not just pubs that will be suffering this. There will be a swathe of businesses which are also, well, unfortunately, having to close their doors because of rising energy prices. So he had this to say. Initially, we were very upset, but honestly, that's more honestly turned into a source of relief. It's got to a point where it became unprofitable. And for the last few months, we had been unable to even pay ourselves a wage, meaning that we have been working for nothing. We just could not carry on with these bills. So previously, before the whole energy price hike, he was paying about £460 a month. This went up to more than £2,100 a month. So that is a massive increase in certainly his energy cost. And why has this happened? Well, you may remember Jeremy Hunt scaled back Liz Truss's energy support plan. Liz Truss's energy support plan, I believe, was in the region of about 18 billion, I believe. So this encompassed a lot of businesses to be able to sort of get them through this energy crisis. But Hunt has slimmed this down to 5.5 billion, and he has actually slashed the number of businesses that are able to apply for this energy support scheme, which is going to lead to massive job losses. Certainly in the pub industries, as you can see, almost 2 a day is a staggering number of pubs to lose. And what's the like I say, if this is happening when normally pubs sort of tend to come through these types of economic crises relatively not unscathed, but they managed to get through them pretty all right. What does that say for our economy when this is the state? I think there are bigger economic problems to come, and if Sunak certainly wants to try and restore his party, well, again, this is still obviously problems of trustonomics. He's not really solving the problem. Inflation hasn't gone down; it's continued to go up. The cost of living crisis continues to go up. Everywhere else, inflation's coming down in Europe. It isn't coming down here. So the more this sort of continues, the worse it's going to become for Sunak. The idea that he has dealt with the cost of living crisis, that he's dealt with the energy crisis, absolutely not. But it just continues to go to the state of, well, the UK economy. What the Conservatives really, really need to do is actually invest in the UK, but they're not interested in that, because that would mean having to, well, justify state spending. And you may remember during the pandemic, Sunak was heavily criticized by his own Conservative backbenchers, saying what Sunak is doing is showing that socialism works, that all this, state sort of spending, the very thing that Conservatives have spoken out against for years, actually works. But now, when we are seeing businesses suffering and closing, which will have massive negative effects on the local economies, on national economy, he's refusing to do it. He's refusing to step in. So the idea that sort of Sunak, was certainly the quote the savior for many businesses during the pandemic. Well, now he certainly isn't stepping in to help when he really, really should be stepping in and helping businesses during probably their hardest time ever. And he's certainly not helping to step in the British public either, who are also suffering massively during the cost of living crisis. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you all next time.